Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I got another story in, and if you have a story, please visit writemac.com and send it in to get my take on a YouTube video. Now, this particular story, this guy gives a lot of details. Some might even say personal details, and that's great because that gives me a better opportunity to give you a better perspective, a better take with the information you give me. So I'm completely fine with that. But for some reason, if you're putting something in parentheses that you don't want on YouTube, I'm not going to edit your story for you. Some people say, oh, well, just be a little vague, take some of this out, take some of that out. I do have a paid YouTube service where it's a private YouTube video, and a lot of people like that. The video will only be sent to you. It will not be publicly listed, and it'll be in the same format as a YouTube video. And it also includes 2 emails afterwards where we correspond through email. And every time I've done that, people really like that because it's personalized. And the other thing is, you know this if you've watched my videos already, I never mention names. So even if you mention your name in the video, I never mention a name, so it's anonymous in that way. I'm just saying this because recently I've had a few people go, take my video down. I don't want her to find out. It's too detailed. I didn't know you were going to. It's not my job to go through your story and edit it, right? That's going to take a little bit of time. And on my end, if I'm reading the story for quote unquote free, it's not really free time. What I'm doing with that story is I'm offering it to the audience, so someone out there that has a similar problem might get some advice from it and might get some help from it. So also I do live coaching. You can see that in the notes. So let's move forward and let's get right into this story. This guy wrote a lot of details, like I said, and I like it because it helps me give him better advice, right? Okay, so dear coach, please excuse my grammar. No problem so far. First of all, what a great aura and vibe you produce through your videos. You're very gifted. Well, thank you. Those are kind words. I haven't heard it put that way, but I'll take it. I'll definitely take it and put it in my back pocket. Me, I'm 31, a personal trainer running my own business in a major city in Europe. Good for fucking you, man. Good for you. And that would be personal trainer running my own business. So you're at least... The nice thing is, anytime you're doing something with fitness or exercise, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if people still use that metaphor or that saying, in the sense that you're doing something that's a healthy lifestyle, and I think that's great. And you meet new people all the time that are healthy lifestyles or want to change lives, man. So kudos to you for that. Just wanted to get you back for the kind compliment you gave me. So grew up in the ghetto parts of the city, but grew to move out of the hood and be a better person. So you grew up in a pretty bad area. Okay, after living and doing parts of living on the streets attitude. Okay, gotcha. So what you're saying is basically living in those particular areas comes with a lifestyle, and you were probably, dare I say, hustling on the streets, right? I got some relatives, being from the Bay Area and San Francisco area, that I have a nephew right now that lives in a pretty bad area, and it's just a different lifestyle. I will say this, growing up in those areas and meeting people from those areas, they're seasoned. They have this street smarts to them, and they're definitely more mature. They read people better. So there are some skills growing up in those areas that help. If you've ever read the book, The 50th Law, by Robert Greene, who's an outstanding author. He's made a lot of stuff. He made it with 50 Cent, the rapper. And he talks about growing up in the ghetto, growing up in the streets, and how he made it work for him. So if you're interested in that book, I would take a look at it. Or go to YouTube and study notes. Joseph Rodriguez, he does an hour-long study notes on it that's outstanding. I'll put that in the notes. It's been damn hard, man. I've lost my business mojo last few years, and I've lost my vibe, but I'm very good at what I do. So number 1, you're good at what you do and you believe you're good at what you do. That's fucking outstanding. That's going to serve you for a long time. Everyone loses their mojo or loses some of their gusto, if you will, at some point. And realizing that you're losing it is a good thing, because then you can stop, pivot, and go, what did I do when I had it? Where was I at? What were the activities that sparked that? What kind of person was I then? I look back on my life and in different parts of my life when I was really good, and what I mean just overall good. I remember I was, most of the times that happened, I made a move to a new city. And when I made that move, I had to put things in place before I moved. and I had to be busy once I moved there. When you make a move, you don't just move and go, oh, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. So making a move usually sparks a new schedule, new routines, meeting new people, and it boosts your mojo because you have no choice. It puts you kind of on an island. It's been damn hard. I'm very persuasive on how to show people what and how to make changes, transition to a healthier lifestyle. Be persuasive with yourself. So what's gonna persuade you right now to get a kick in the ass? Business is getting better. Okay, so he just jumps into the woman. Her 27, highly educated from a very rich family, same religion, different culture, and he puts an exclamation there. So being from the same religion but different culture is different culture. That means different values, possibly a different identity, and that can clash. And you gotta come to a point where you accept the values being different, because if they're cultural, most likely they won't change, especially if she still lives close to her family. So you have to decide: am I going to deal with those, or are they deal breakers? And is it conflicting with your values that you hold tight to yourself? She's a very high-end, financially paying job. I guess you see where this is going. We met at a gym where we were both trained, not the one I work in. I train hard and keep to myself. Okay, so you've mentioned two things. You come from the ghetto or the streets, as you say, and this woman's from a rich family, and she makes a lot of money. And I would say, as a personal trainer that's successful, you probably wouldn't classify her as someone that's rich or making a lot of money. So right there you have two different things that might conflict, and it can conflict in a couple ways. It can make you a little bit insecure that she's making more money than you and she's from a rich family, or you can feel like she's looking down on you. The question is, are you just feeling those things because you're insecure, or is she making you feel those things by the way she's treating you and the way she's talking to you? Because at the end of the day, as a couple, as someone moving forward into a longer term relationship, you should be helping each other grow. You should be pushing each other in the right direction, supporting each other to do better, to be better, to get better. So I train myself. I'm very confident in the gym, but very stoic in my vibe. I love the word stoic. It's one of my favorite words. No pain, no pleasure. In my vibe and presence when I train, I keep to myself and work hard. I have the athlete six-pack ripped physique. Good for you. Everyone wants that. But I don't show it off. Okay, like wearing tank tops. Okay, she trains hard too, and that's what I noticed first about her, and she's got an okay body. In no way is that bad for me. Well, not everyone, even if they train hard, can have a great body, It's like myself. I go to the gym. I exercise regularly. I do not have a six-pack. I'm in good shape, but I always have these really small shoulders, so I could never get huge, broad, big guy type thing, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with it. It used to bug me when I was younger, but certain people can't genetically have the bodies that other people have, and you have to accept that the other way. And you said it's not a bad thing for me, but you said her body's okay. So, and you're probably more critical of that being a personal trainer. So let's just keep that in mind. Anyway, we clicked and sparked very well after we spoke from just nodding and smiling to each other for a few months. Well, you're a good-looking guy that works out in the gym. I'm sure you got her attention. I keep a distance from anyone in the gym when I train. Okay, you mentioned that a couple times. She approached me to go out for a drink. Wow, she approached you? That's high interest, dude. And I said, sure. I've been out of a relationship for 4 and a bit years. So let's just say 4 and a quarter, 4.5 years, due to not being financially secure to be into a serious relationship. Okay, so you obviously value being financially secure as being tied to being in a relationship. Let's keep that in mind. It's tough, but partly down to me not driving hard through to better myself. We started dating and became serious after 6 months. I got really stagnated and too comfortable. Many people do. Started to see we were where I really need to focus and improve on. And she tried to end it because there was no way in hell her family would ever let her settle down with me just from a financial perspective. Is that problem going away, or will that always be there, is the question. Is she willing to accept you as you are? I mean, I've had a similar story to this way back. And the woman ended up, the guy said they had an outstanding relationship, great sex, great connection. And eventually the family got to her 2 or 3 years down the road and just told her, you need to lose this guy, and she did it. The girl was born into a mansion, and I was born in the projects. I mean, we can come back to this over and over again, but at the end of the day, she needs to make a decision if being attracted, connection, attraction, and trust are the pillars right there. If she has all three of those with you and she's really happy with you and she makes a lot of money, is that enough for her? I mean, it's not. It's an admirable thing to be a personal trainer, right? And you can take that to a next level thing. You can start a YouTube channel. You can do so many different things with that. But the idea that I think that you have the identity that you are from the hood still, and even if you feel like it's not a positive thing, you still have some pride for that, which I totally understand, and I'm not putting you down in any way. I completely understand that, but by you having that identity, it's going to hold you back from being around groups like that are quote unquote rich. It probably makes you uncomfortable to be around them. And if you ever want to do a live coaching, we could talk about this more and get a little deeper on it. And I couldn't take the rejection, as I've had this experience before from another girl from another very entitled rich family. Okay, so you're replaying what happened before. And I erupted in a tirade of insults and bad energy. The whole throw all this shit I gave you away. I love how you put that. What happened is you're insecure with yourself, being that where you came from, you can't identify with being rich. So when you're around rich people, it makes you really uncomfortable. And I can relate. I wasn't poor when I was younger. I came from a working class, middle class family. My father was a truck driver, literally drove trucks and delivered food. My mother was a secretary for a dentist. So we grew up in a middle class area at the time. I went to a couple schools that were pretty rough, a couple schools that were nice depending on the area. And I'll tell you what, when I got into real estate and residential real estate in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was starting to mingle with rich people, I was uncomfortable that my dad was a truck driver and my mom was a secretary. All these people were loaded. I mean, really, really rich. And it wasn't that I wasn't proud of my parents. It was that I felt like I didn't belong to that group, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I was fine socially, but inside I felt uncomfortable. I felt like I didn't belong to that group. And that will sabotage you making a deeper connection with those people, if that makes sense to you. Very bad move, very bad energy. At least you realize it. If I only saw your channel 48 hours before the fight, man. Well, thanks for that. I never cheated. I was not abusive, but definitely after writing the story out to myself fully and honestly, I saw that I could have been a guy who gave more mental abuse, not proud of it. Well, fuck, at least you're aware of it. Don't get down on yourself. Fix it. Right now, today, in the present moment. She was not perfect, but was very uptight and a bit of a temper on her also. Uptight? Uptight's hard to deal with. I mean, that's hard to deal with. A bit of a temper, I mean, that means that she knows where she stands on things and doesn't take any shit. Maybe that's attractive sometimes. After 2 weeks of no contact and eating my brain alive with thoughts, negative and wishful thinking, it hit me. Hey, man, your grammar's not perfect, but your writing style's excellent, the way you carry on with this. I like it. I mean, the story's tough, but I'm just saying the way you put this in perspective and you put your thoughts in there, it's perfect. And I don't use that word often. A bit of temper, okay, negative and wishful thinking, it hit me. We are two different people. Ding, ding. I have a video with Fritz Perls, the psychologist, and Fritz Perls has some sort of saying where he basically, if me and you cannot agree on things, maybe we should agree on moving separate ways. I wish I had the book behind me right now, but Fritz Perls, look it up on my videos. I have the saying in there. And basically he says, get away from trying to change people and who they are and their values and accept them for who they are. And if it doesn't work out, then move forward. Two different people with two different identities, as you mentioned in one of your videos. Absolutely. I'm a personal trainer, very interactive, like to help and meet people. But you are a stoic also in the gym. She's dealing with CEO, executives of banks, major company, number crunching. Yep, you are opposites. With billions and millions of dollars, you know the type. It wouldn't have worked with the different identities and values. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. And what I want you to get from this, it doesn't mean that you are lower than her. It doesn't mean that you couldn't get on with another rich woman. It just means that this particular rich woman Maybe you guys didn't vibe, and you had a moment where you were highly attracted to each other. She was definitely attracted to you if she asked you out for a drink. She's a CEO type. She's a rich lady. She's got her pick of the litter in most cases. So for her to come on to you means that she was highly attracted to you. And for you to have 6 months of a relationship and you to not have the finances that she had, you had a connection, right? You had a connection. I was not Prince Charming and did not act like one from day one. Well, maybe that's what she liked about you. Not everyone wants Prince Charming. That's movie shit. Was myself, and after the third date, I sent a message saying, look, financially, I can't support getting into anything serious, just so you knew before anything else goes on. You know, I know where you're going with that. That's a responsible statement, but I don't think it's needed. I think you could have grew that relationship organically and seen where it went, and seeing how much she appreciated who you are and what you're doing. And maybe down the road you would have been motivated, and maybe down the road she would have maybe even helped you do something that would have grew your business. I mean, to put up that wall right away, I don't know if it's needed. I know you meant it with good intentions, but you set the tone right there. And you limited the relationship, I think. I'm trying to be better, but just for her to know beforehand made me feel more at ease. But I don't know if it was good for the relationship moving forward. I know where you're coming from. She said she understands, but kept on, and she stayed with me anyway. After 5 or 6 months, my stress of life was starting to crack through and affected her. I mean, if she knew that up front, I think the issues were more with your insecurity than with hers, it sounds like. More and more into where she ended up. Sorry, a truck's going by there. More and more to where she ended up, hence the fight and so on. I guess it's a kick up the ass. I needed that. If it's her or another girl, I will have to experience again and again because of not pushing myself in my job and not being driven. Well, that's a separate thing than your relationship, and being driven and getting a kick in the ass financially is two separate things. Do not layer them. You're not going to be motivated to be more driven because of this woman only. It has to come from something else. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Find your meaning and your reason. For example, I do this breakup coaching. I've had a friend that helps me out with my website, and he's always telling me about other channels, Dan Bacon, Brad Browning. Hey, you should do like this. No, that's not my approach. That's not who I am. I don't want to be a cheesy-ass guy that's just trying to sell you shit. So the meaning I get is I do a lot of these stories for free up front, and then if you want to do a live coaching, you can pay me, and we can go from there. And even in the live coachings, if you've done a video already, I do 2 hours for the price of one. So I get a lot out of this, and after the live coaching, someone says, thank you, oh my God, I appreciate this, you helped me so much. Someone says thank you in the email. That's my meaning. I'm doing it for appreciation, and I'm doing it for money. I won't say, oh, I'm not doing it for that. It sounds like with personal training, you can get both also. And you got to find a way where you're giving people so much value that they appreciate your value beyond money, because you appreciate people beyond money based on where you came from. You appreciate people's word. And I think you can be a very good personal trainer for people maybe have low self-esteem or just getting into it, because you take your job seriously, and I think you get a lot out of moving people up. And however you know, with personal training, I mean, there's loads of ways to advertise online now that are free. Like I said, start a YouTube channel. Okay, so sorry to go on a tangent on that. We'll have this experience again because of not pushing myself, my job, and not being driven. You can change that. So while the heart is aching and repeating some of your videos several times a day, I'm getting back the drive to push myself, and I guess the pain of rejection is driving me for now. But it's, hey, you know what? If that's what it fucking takes, then that's what it takes. I know from a breakup I had, it turned my fucking life around 10 years ago. It was the worst breakup I've ever had. We were together 5 years. I talked about it in videos. I was lost. I was upset. But now realizing, looking back, it wasn't the breakup that I was upset with. I was upset with myself. And I was just like you. I was stagnant. I was not pushing myself. I wasn't driven enough. I wasn't challenging myself. And I needed that kick in the ass, and it changed my life in a good way. And I think you're at that bridge right now, crossing that river. A negative energy, so driving me for now, it's a negative energy. You need to turn it into positive. You are turning it into positive with this story right now. The pain is going to hurt for the next couple of months. It will. but reading and writing will help, and buy a new course to study will help. And I've taken your advice and stepped up and changed my type of training. Going to take some swimming lessons, start swimming. Exactly, dude. So you're a personal trainer. I think you know this better than I do, but change your routine. Go into something new, because right now you're in change. So if you don't normally swim, you've always wanted to do it, do it. I've told people this before that go to the gym. If you don't do that, be outside, go in nature. If you live in the city, go for a run in the city where you're coming across people and you're in a more present moment. Change up your routine. I like it. I guess if you do take this to YouTube, just let people know to make changes ASAP. It's on YouTube right now, and day by day it gets easier. The pain will be there, but fades day after day, atom by atom. After writing a lot, I've noticed I'm more needy than I ever thought I was. I started to read up on relationships and no contact, but have taken a lot of material. Sorry, I gotta move this down. But have taken a lot of material of the net and taken some of your book recommendations and will work hard to improve. So I guess one can only learn and improve from past experiences. Fucking outstanding statement. You are a slave to your experiences. And if you don't realize that and reframe the stories from your experiences, for example, you had a rich, financially wealthy woman that's highly successful, and you have an identity where you believe that you are this guy from the streets or the hood, and you are. And you can keep that. You can keep that. But you almost don't feel good enough, and you want to put that on her. She approached you. Remember that. She stayed with you for 5 or 6 months. You're a catch, man. So there's going to be some ways that being from where you came from is a good thing. It's going to make you more street smart and read more people. But by making these changes, and I'll tell you this, as a personal trainer, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm good at this, and I say that with confidence, I'm good at giving advice, I'm good at giving breakup advice. Man, I've had a lot of different jobs. I've had a lot of different life experiences. You know, when I was 16 years old, I worked in a department store, and then 17, 18 years old, I used to develop pictures in a drugstore, like 35 millimeter. That's how old I am, if you remember 35 millimeter. I had another job at a sporting goods store, all while I was in school. And then I had a job. I was selling women's shoes for a while at a major department store while I was in college, made good money on that. My point is, I worked with a lot of different people of a lot of different ages, okay? And then I became a teacher for the last 9 years, so I've over 200 students a term, and you just come across a lot of different people, and it seasons you, okay? And you as a personal trainer, the more different types of people you work with in different environments, one or two of those people are going to touch you with a little bit of advice from their lives, and that's what makes you wiser as a person. And then add in these books that I recommend, and I'm seriously going to start doing book reviews, because a lot of my knowledge for this channel comes from reading books. And I don't know, over the last 2 years, I'm probably 150, 200 books deep, and a couple podcasts that I like the Tim Ferriss podcast is one. Listen to countless interviews with authors, and that just keeps you going. That stuff's not just self-improvement. You just get little nuggets from each one of those things. But the drive of not being rejected is pushing me for now, which I hope will change over time. You know what? Being rejected is failure, and failure is actually a learning curve. So it's not a whole bad thing. Thank you for what you do, brother. Keep up the good work. Thank you for this letter. I really enjoyed reading it and where you're coming from. And I don't say that to everyone. I think you know that if you watch my channel, because some of the stories, I take them all. I give you my advice. It seems like you get it right now. It's going to take you some time, but you fucking get it. That's a start. And like I said, I'd be happy to do a live coaching session with you, because I think it would really go somewhere. What happens with the live coaching is you need to be in a place where you want to improve, where you want to move forward, okay? And that's when you get the most out of it. So thank you for supporting the channel. If you got a breakup story out there and you'd like to send it in or book a live coaching session, visit writemac.com. Thank you for supporting the channel once again.